Our speaker it's Katie Deans. Katie Deans will present us OurFamilyWizard as a solution for high-conflict parenting cases. Katie Deans is the business development leader in the UK for OurFamilyWizard for 3 years, and her primary focus is training professionals in family law. Katie, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Okay, that's better. There should be some slides. Just give it one moment. Whilst those are loading, I'll just give you a bit of context about OurFamilyWizard. So OurFamilyWizard has been around for 24 years now. We were founded over in the US. We've been court-ordered in every single state in the US. We're also available worldwide. We have a team in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and my team in the UK. We were in the UK for about 7 years, so we're still a little bit younger in the UK than we are over in the US. But the platform itself has that 24, 5 years of experience in co-parenting that's really gone into thinking about how the features should work and how communication between separated parents can break down. Just waiting for the slides to just... I have it, yes.
Eventually, download this.
I have a cable, like an HDMI, which we can... no, oh no.
No.
That's for this.
Do you have another?
I emailed them to Ricardo. Apologies, everyone, we're just getting some slides. Do you want to just to load up. The main sort of USP of OurFamilyWizard is documentation. So we don't allow any messages to be edited or deleted. Afterwards. So there is that full sort of record of communication which can be downloaded by a professional if necessary. It means that you then have an accurate record of what has been said, but you also encourage parents to be slightly more accountable and to communicate in a way that shouldn't arise to conflict and stress in the same capacity, because there is that record that can't be altered or deleted. I will have sort of some visual aids that walk you through how the platform looks, but just a slight overview before we do have those up. OurFamilyWizard is designed to be an app and to be a website for communication. All of the features within the platform are designed to look and feel like apps that parents will have used before. So the messaging looks like an email inbox. The calls feature looks like FaceTime or WhatsApp video. They all look the same. Ours is no different. The whole platform is color-coded, so they will have a single shared calendar that they will both be viewing, which will have one color for one parent, another color for the other parent, so they can see calendar changes that might pertain to them and sort of how those are being shared up and broken up. They also have features within the platform that streamline communication. We have a very sort of solution and issue-focused style of communication. With the calendar, they can make yes-no requests. So it's sort of minimizing the back and forth between parents with all that sort of nastiness that can go back and forth, and actually getting right to the root of the issue, which is perhaps a change in their timetable. They can also do similar style requests for requesting expenses and tracking them that way. We're up, perfect. We also, at OurFamilyWizard, talk a lot about why the regular methods of communication that parents are using aren't always enough. It does say here sort of texts and emails, and this is a website called ifake.net. This is the first website that comes up when you type in fake text generator into Google, and it is free to use. I will add that we made this recording about 3 years ago, so this has been around for at least 3 years. There are newer platforms and sort of AI versions that will probably make a much more convincing screenshot like the one you see here, but this is just showing you how quick and easy it is to create that false message. They can make it look like their own phone interface. They can change who that message came from. And when they click download, this is what will be downloaded on their computer. They could then rename that screenshot 059 or image 0810, attach it to an email to their sort of legal representative, and it's then your job to try and decipher if these are genuine or not. And it's an extra load of work that you shouldn't have to do. We also have a quote here from His Honour Judge Clive Baker, who is a designated family judge in Cumbria in the UK, where he's discussing a public law case where screenshots like this had actually been used. So here he says it looked genuine, but no trace of the message could be found on either the sender or receiver's mobile, and ultimately it transpired that one of the parties had manufactured it using an internet mock-up site. So this is something that we actually know is happening, and again, it's something that OurFamilyWizard are trying to mitigate against. Especially in sort of this time where co-parenting is as stressful as it's ever been. We have some stats here on the level of stress that co-parenting can cause. And we also have a few statistics here on the way that a co-parenting app can alleviate that stress. We've sort of done studies with parents trying to decipher, and there is a breakdown as well of whether they are legally represented, whether they came to us through the court system, whether they are self-represented, and all of them across the board did find that the co-parenting app could relieve their stress. So I mentioned all of the features of OurFamilyWizard are tailored specifically to co-parenting. They're designed to mitigate the issues that we know co-parents are facing. I will go through a few of these in a bit more detail in just a moment as well, but we also have something called professional access. These are free accounts for you as professionals, for social workers, mental health practitioners, basically anyone working with a parent in a professional capacity. With that parent's consent, can connect to their account and actively download reports directly from us. That way you know that you are getting 100% accurate records and you're not relying on the screenshots that maybe a parent is sending. We are currently only available in English, but early next year we have a version of the platform available in Spanish coming out, and additional languages hopefully within the next year as well. So if anyone is interested in learning a bit more about the future and how that might transpire, please take my email and I will keep you posted if there is any updates coming up. We are a paid platform, primarily. We have a few pricing options, and I don't have the pricing on this slide because it does vary country to country, and I don't know the exchange rate off by heart of every single country there is. But it starts at around sort of 120 euros for that essentials package, which is what about 95% of families will be using. The two other packages then get slightly more expensive depending on whether they need more file storage or recorded audio and video calls. And parents can be on different packages if they like, but again, most families will be fine with the essentials option. We also have free accounts for anyone who is on any kind of government benefits or low income. In the UK, it's any universal credit, job seekers allowance, housing benefit, and similar sort of benefit systems will qualify parents for free accounts in other countries as well. The fee waiver is something that parents can apply for on our website, but we also have a form that can be filled out by professionals. And we also offer a forces discount, which is a sort of 2-for-1 for any sort of current or veteran military families. The first feature we have is messaging. The style is designed to be as similar to an email as possible. This is a deliberate choice. We want the onboarding process to be as minimal as possible. We want parents to have it feel familiar and similar to something that they've used before. The key differences between this and email are time stampings. So when it was first read, when it was received, and when it was sent, all of that information is time-stamped with a date and a time. So you'll have a full record of what has and hasn't been seen. And the other key difference is that they can't delete messages. So when they do send that message, they need to think a bit more carefully about how they choose to phrase that message before they click send. And to help them out with that, we have a feature called Tone Meter. We now have 2 versions of Tone Meter available, an AI option, which is optional. We are not forcing the use of AI on anyone who is not comfortable in using AI. If they do opt in for the AI version, they can have a suggested redraft of that message. So it will rewrite that message for them in a clearer, calmer way. If they want to use the normal tone meter that is an AI, it will register the tone of language and flag things up for them in a similar way to how a spell check might pick up a spelling mistake, but it's picking up things that might be read in a negative way. It doesn't stop them sending the message, so they always have autonomy to send that message if they really want to. It's designed to be an extra sort of tier of consciousness to make them slightly more aware about how someone might feel reading that message. The AI that we use, or if they are having that rewritten message, is home-built by our developers. We're not sharing any data with ChatGPT or Gemini or anything like that. But it's also purpose-built. It's not going to rephrase a nasty message in a less nasty way if there's nothing of substance or purpose in there. It's going to get to key issues such as piano lessons, football training, and write that in a way that shouldn't arise to conflict and stress in that same way. Our messaging board here as well looks, again, like an email inbox, and that is a deliberate sort of thing there. Our calls feature looks like FaceTime, WhatsApp video, etc. The main sort of differences are that we do have the recorded calls option. So if they do want to initiate a recorded call, we can facilitate that. It also works over the internet, so they don't need to share phone numbers, email addresses, or billing addresses with each other. So it means that we can be a single port of communication if required. With the calls feature as well, we timestamp any time they press a button, so you'll know if a parent is only sort of always the one to initiate a call, if they're maybe turning their camera on or off, etc. All of that information is logged. It works on a consent basis, so parents are free to toggle this consent option on and off. We also timestamp that, so you'll know if a parent is only opting in for calls between certain times of day. But you'll also know that maybe if a call had been scheduled on a Wednesday at 5 o'clock and at 4:58 they toggled the consent off, that is documented as well. So an extra level of transparency that you wouldn't necessarily have if they blocked the other parent's number on WhatsApp. With the recorded option, so if they are opting to make a recorded call, they would initiate the call in the same way, but they won't see or hear the other parent until they explicitly give two-party consent for that recording to take place. We are not trying to encourage any sort of issues with covert recordings. If they need to have a recording, both parents are going to be aware that it's taking place and consenting to it taking place. Afterwards, they can then download a recording and a transcript. Our transcripts can transcribe in multiple languages. They are also timestamped, so you can sort of see who was speaking at what time. And just for reference, this is one of the reports for our calls feature, and it outlines that call activity history. So when they were muted, unmuted, camera on, off, who ended the call. And again, with our transcripts, it does sort of outline the dates and times things were said. We also have a calendar. This is color-coded. So the smaller version indicates overnight stays, so you can see sort of how parenting time is broken up. The bigger version has drop-off and pick-up times, and you can put sort of parenting schedules and have events that sit on top of that as well. When they first log in, they are prompted to upload a parenting schedule. We offer a few typical rotations, so they can have a look at that, see how it might pan out. They can also add a start date and an end date. So if they just want to upload the upcoming month and then reassess at the end of the month, when they get to the end date, they'll be prompted to upload a new one. Once it has been inputted, the only way to change it is by using this feature, which is called the schedule change request. They have to specify a reason why they want to make that change. They then outline the dates and times they are looking to change or exchange. And then they can also give a date that they need a response by. So in this example here, the reason that they have given is that they would like to take Nina to a party so that she can see her cousins. The parent receiving this can then approve, decline, or decline and propose change. If they approve it, we will timestamp that response, but we will also automatically update the calendar for both of them, so the next time they both view the calendar, that change is reflected. If they decline it, we will also timestamp that response. That can be logged, maybe it can be downloaded into a court admissible report. And then decline and propose change, they can send the same request back to the parent, but they can alter the times slightly. So maybe they're more than happy for Nina to go to the party. The weekend they've been offered in return, there's work commitments they can't get out of. It's opening up a negotiation for them in a stripped back yes-no format where things don't have the room to escalate in the same capacity that they would if they were messaging back and forth. We also have a journal where they can share sort of photos and updates. They can use this as a sort of shared diary space, but also they can log important moments and things like that in there as well. They can upload things privately in here, so if they just want to log things to share with a professional or for their own sort of evidencing logs, they can do. We also have an info bank where they can log family information, so names of dentists, numbers for dentists, clothing sizes, birthdays, blood types, all the types of information that a parent who is particularly forgetful or perhaps prior to separation never really dealt with themselves. It's giving them access to that information so they can be a bit more self-sufficient and deal with an emergency in the moment. We also have a My Files section. This is a sort of shared storage space, so similar to a Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive type area. They can share files with each other in the same way, but they don't need email addresses to do so. We also have an expense log where they can request reimbursements. You can add categories in here, so maybe they're splitting all school-related stuff 50-50, but sports stuff 70-30. This feature will actually do the maths for them, and they can attach receipts alongside that, so they can sort of keep track of what has and hasn't been paid. We have reports available for all of our features, and I'll just whiz through some of these. So this is a messaging report. We have a calendar report. We have a journal report as well. We have a call activity report. We've also got the statistical report with the expense log, as well as a payment, chronological, and transactional report. Another report that we have is the sign-in history. This is the IP address of any time a parent logged in. This cannot be accessed by their co-parent for obvious safeguarding reasons. It's actually more of an accountability measure than anything else. We log parents out after 30 seconds of inactivity. We also encourage them to use a Face ID or a thumbprint to get into their account. It is highly unlikely that someone else sent that message or someone else read that message, and this is sort of acting as a reminder of that. We also have child and third-party access. This is free. It's also optional. Children do not have to have access if they should not have access, but it's a restricted access. So a child can view the calendar, they can see it's an orange day or see it's a purple day and know what bus they're getting back from school, but they can't edit that. So they can't sort of go in and say, I'd rather go back to mum's. It's just that viewing option for them. They can also message each parent individually, but they won't see messages going between the parents. And that same access can be created for grandparents, babysitters, godparents, and that's always free. With professional access, this is also a free option. So if you wanted to connect to a parent, you can do. We have single parent access, which is where you maybe have consent from one parent, but not the other. With that, you will have a bird's eye view of what that client can see. You won't see anything private shared on the other side or anything being shared with a professional on the other side. It's the same level of access if your client was in your office showing you things on their phone. It's no additional access to that. With dual parent access, you have all of that same access you would get in single parent access, but with both parents, so viewing from either parent's perspective. You can also override the calendar for them and input expense log categories. And this is just sort of showing how that parent view mode works. So viewing the account as if you were Sam Rogers in this case. We are really fortunate that in the last 3 years, OurFamilyWizard has had a handful of published cases as part of the transparency project in England and Wales. And these are cases that are freely available and published online on places like CaseMine or Bailey. We have the neutral citations of some of those. There are sort of lots of them. If it's ever interesting, just have a look, type in wizard. Most of the cases that come up are to do with us. We've also been court-ordered in Australia, as well as in all 50 states in the US. And we have an example of one of those orders from Pennsylvania here, where it outlines sort of different uses for the app. And a similar one, this is from Ireland. So this was a High Court case in Ireland last year. As you know, this is an English one. But a very similar sort of outlining of a non-molestation order and adding this as supplement to that. And then this is the one from Ireland from the High Court last year, where it outlined that the parents have to sign up to the app. In this case, one of the parents had contested about the cost of it, to which the judge had turned around and said, the cost is minuscule, basically, compared to what you are already paying for litigation in this case, but also outlined that the methods of communication that they were already using were causing more risk and more harm, and this was a way of sort of mitigating that risk and harm that was already being imputed. We have order languages for several countries across the globe. So this is one of our Australian order languages. We can send over a Word document if anyone would like a copy to sort of see the language that is being used. We also have one for the US here. This is the England and Wales. We have Ireland, and we have Scotland there, as well as a version in Spanish for the US. Another resource that we have is a Getting Started Kit for Parents, which is a sort of 5-page PDF that parents can use to sort of learn a bit more about the platform. It goes a step further than the brochures, but there's a few sort of FAQs and testimonials from parents that have actually used us, so they can see real-life examples that might resonate with them. We are trying to run a series of more webinars and sort of blogs and just resources for professionals in family law. We are keen to do many, many more of these next year. So that is something that might be of interest to some of you. Otherwise, that is everything from me. We have a QR code there. If you want any of the resources mentioned in that sort of presentation, feel free to scan that. But if you have any trouble scanning that, it should come up with a form. If you are having any trouble, just come see me and I can send it over manually as well. Thank you all so much. Are there any questions?
Yes. So basically, this concept, I want to ask you, is it after separation?
It can be at any point. In theory, the earlier they have adoption, the less chance there is that they will end up in court for as long, and they may even save on litigation costs in the process.
Because I was going to suggest it's very important the child and the parent, and therefore the argument is there could not be a relationship because they were always trying to put a wedge between the bond. So to have a bond or not. So basically what my question is, do you offer this from day one, like to everyone?
Yeah, so parents can sign.
They can be together, am I right?
They do have to both sign up, but they don't need to necessarily know the other parent's email.
Or they can be in a citizen?
They can do. We have parents that have actually gotten back together and still use this during the separation process. We also have... Yes, yeah, co-parenting, parallel parenting. There are uses for all of those different examples, but also maybe in cases where communication needs to be restricted right down to an absolute minimum because there's safeguarding concerns, it can also play a role there. So it's very flexible in that sense. If they do adopt and sign up earlier on, if they do end up in court down the line, at least everything is evidenced, yeah.
So the earlier the better.
Yeah.
So this should be with the professionals from the university and the education staff from the very, very beginning.
We would hope so.
You know? Like, can it be transferred to another language as well? You mentioned
In the process of, so we have Spanish coming out in sort of January, February. Ideally, by the end of 2026, we will at least have sort of French, potentially Portuguese. We are hoping to do a little bit more research and have that developed within the next year, but I also can't make any promises because I'm not the person who codes the languages.
So do we have to communicate with you to
Yes.
get this process happening?
If you are happy to speak with one of my development team, we would love to pass over an email. They're really keen to meet with as many people as possible.
And to get the franchise, because you said it was US and then Canada, Australia,
Yeah.
and the UK. To get a franchise, do you speak, is there a sort of
We have another app in France that are working on developing this. It's not co-parenting though. It's just another family app that are under the umbrella of OurFamilyWizard. Yes. Yeah, it's all very much in the works. So we will hopefully have as many different languages available by the end of 2026 as possible. I can't promise which ones they're going to be, but I think French and Portuguese are at the top of that list behind Spanish because we have the US. In English, yes. Are there any other questions?
One last question before. One more last question before the break to the workshops.
Hi. We have had a few research projects in the past, but I think the biggest testament is that parents use us on average 3 to 5 years. So it's not that they're just signing up for 1 year while they're in the court proceedings and then don't need it a year later. They tend to renew at least 3 or 4 times. So it's that sort of continuation of it's working for the first year, it's worked for the second, third, fourth. And we have a lot of professionals that I know in England and Wales, and I know there are more globally, that will refer client after client because they've seen the impact. So once a professional refers one client, they're more likely to refer 10 different clients because they can see the impact.
can it be signed up for the lifespan of the child?
You can do, so it's an annual renewal, so they can sign up
So
once.
you cannot renew it for 18 years, for example, from the beginning?
They can do if they want to keep using it for 18 years, but it just is an annual rolling basis. But they can have the free account for 18 years if they're on lower income, or we will always give them the free account if they need it.
Because it makes sense, yeah. It makes sense
Yeah.
to have, this is a brilliant tool. Well done.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. Because I said this about 3-4 years ago at my country about an app, and I approached the minister for the app, for the technology, and to do that, and I was just ignored, So, thank you. Well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you all so much.
Now we are going to have a little break just to change for the rooms for the workshops. Please follow the program and let's enjoy